આપણી સાથે આગળ જે બીજા મેનેજમેન્ટ જોડાઈ રહ્યા છે બ્લુ સ્ટારના મેનેજમેન્ટ છે, કંપનીના એમડી બી ત્યાગરાજન જોડાઈ ચૂક્યા છે. આગળ બજેટને લઈને શું અપેક્ષાઓ રાખવી જોઈએ, અત્યારે ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીનો આઉટલુક શું છે, આ બધા જ મુદ્દાઓ ચર્ચા કરવા માટે. હાય સર, a very good afternoon. Thanks very much for joining in. Let me start with this. How have the things been across the industry? Prior to budget, what are the things that you are expecting the government should take into account to improve the demand situation, to improve a bit of the industrial categories that we are witnessing? A brief idea from your side, then we can discuss it further.
Good morning. Thank you for talking to me. I don't want to talk about the current or the quarter that ended because of the silent period. But the thing is, this year the sales have been good. Air conditioner as a category has done reasonably well this year compared with last year. But as you may recall, on September 26, 2018, there was a custom duty hike. Then again we had a custom duty hike in the last union budget. Now, even though this is not a energy label change year, the input costs have gone up. Therefore, in terms of the budget, what I would expect, number one is that the consumer spending should go up. Automatically we will benefit, and there are indications that the government will go ahead and do the demand side interventions so that disposable income goes up and we will benefit from that. This is the first part of it. Second part of it is we would expect some stability in terms of the custom duty, because 2 consecutive years it has gone up. So we are investing heavily into Make in India, but the components, when they get imported, if they are burdened, we will be at a disadvantage. Twice we have taken the hit, the industry. Then third is there is a inverted duty structure. If you import a finished goods, it is 0% from Thailand and other countries under FTA, but if you buy a component, you end up paying the full tax, so full duty. So therefore we expect this problem have to be recognized by the government. This is what is one part. The second part, as far as the commercial refrigeration is concerned, if there is a big boost to the food processing industry, we will see the cold chain industry moving up. So that is the second interest that we have got. The third one is connected with electromechanical projects. The real estate sector is in shambles. The projects are not getting executed faster. There are many projects which are stalled. There is a liquidity crisis there. If the real estate sector is revived, we will be a beneficiary of that. Broadly, these are the 3 areas.
Okay, agreed, sir. Let me start it this way. We have been witnessing a number of reforms since past 2 years. If we talk about the tax cut, apart from that, for industry as well, the liquidity condition that was tightened to slow up a bit from that perspective as well. How do you think that things must be shaped up so that these crunches that are affecting very badly to the industry on the whole gets a bit combated, gets a bit relieved from all those aspects?
The very first one, I think, is the labor reforms. The FT, fixed term employment rules, were framed by the government, and that part of it will have not been implemented by many states. So we need to go ahead and implement that fixed term employment part of it. So it is very, very essential in my view. The second one is the R&D. If we are going to be focusing on Make in India, we need to be investing heavily in R&D in order to become globally competitive. So you know the R&D, the income tax depreciation benefit, which was 200, that got reduced to 100. But we would look forward to certain reforms in that area. How we can become, we have the talent. It is a question of able to invest money in R&D. All companies will have to invest heavily in R&D. The third one is that export growth. We are not part of RCEP now, but then it is very important we are attempting to open up the export markets in a big way. How we can be boosting the exports within the country. So these are the areas I think the structural reforms are necessarily required. Here, a new thinking, new way of doing things.
Agreed, sir. One more thing I wanted your clarification on is, sir, the way you talked about execution. What has that been since past 2 years, and what are the changes that we are expecting? I mean, what is the pace of execution that was prior to 2 years? Let me put it that way. And how have things been picking up right now? Because we have seen a global slowdown, not exactly slowdown, but in terms of the economy that has been quite in a sluggish zone, if I can say that. We did see a number of retrenchments as well across the industries. How things can be worked on that parameters?
I meant the real estate sector. You know, the projects get announced, and halfway through these projects, it is due to the NBFC crisis onwards. Earlier it was RERA came in, some slowdown happened, and afterwards the NBFC crisis, the projects are underfunded. So what happens as a electromechanical project service provider? You take an order, begin executing, halfway through, if it is stalled, we are in trouble. And fortunately, the government has been a good spender in metro railway, airports, etc. Those projects are progressing. Of course, there are one or two projects that are stalled. And in the case of government, you may not get the payments also in time in quite a few cases. So for us to progress further, we should become efficient in terms of executing the projects in time. If it is 18 months, the project should happen. That is one of the important things that we should attempt. China demonstrated that, and many other countries in Asia also have demonstrated that timely execution of the project is in everybody's interest. It is in the nation's interest, it is in the consumers of that services, that interest, and the stakeholders like the vendors and contractors like ours. So we will be able to reduce substantial amount of cost if the projects are happening in time. You see in the city itself how many buildings are stopped halfway through for some reason or other, and that's what I meant. So the real estate sector, RERA was a good reform. It has brought in some kind of discipline out there. The commercial real estate revival is critical in one respect for one segment of our business.
Okay, agreed, sir. And I agree, because we did see a rough patch for the whole industry of real estate, and post which we too are expecting some of the measures that can boost up real estate sector. Agreed, sir. One more thing, you did talk about the commercial refrigeration in terms of cold chain industry that we have seen flourishing in past some of the years. What are your expectations that should be put forward for revival of those areas? What are the additional steps that government should provide that can help in boosting up the growth rate of this industry?
The GST reforms, like air conditioner, refrigeration, quite a few products are in 28% slab. So we are, but it is not a union budget subject. So in managing the deficit and the revenue, my own impression is they are not going to do it. You need a bold step to reform the GST structure. and this 28% slab itself should go. According to me, even if it is done for 5-star inverter air conditioners, it will be a revenue neutral proposal. But as I told you, it is a GST council subject. It is not the union budget issue. Simply it is reviving the demand. Our penetration for air conditioners, for example, in the country is just 6%. We have a long way to go. Compared with China, our market size is minuscule. We are talking about some 80 million to 6 million kind of difference. We are 6 million, they are 80 million, some 12 times more than us. So therefore, consumption has to revive. Industry will do it bit to improve the energy efficiency, improve the competitiveness, make the product affordable. All that will happen. So this is what I would say. And then the question is, everybody has got a wish list. You know, in your channel itself, every industry will be tabling what all they need, but the government also can do only a limited thing. If you ask me, prioritize some 2-3 things. I would say this: that take steps to improve the disposable income so that the demand grows. Number one. Number two is we have to become competitive. For that, in an inverted duty structure kind of an environment, we should be allowing imports of components at if not at a lower rate, at least at the current rate. If it is increased, the price will go up, because if I can supply products at affordable price, the market will grow. Then the prices will come down. And then it will be possible for us to manufacture even the components in the country. Today we don't have a scale. That is the second step. The third one is R&D, technology. How we will become a global powerhouse in this area. We can do that. I don't think there is a lack of talent. It will generate employment also. So we have to incentivize the companies to invest in. I am of the view India can be global number one in terms of air conditioning, refrigeration, technology development. We have that talent. It is a question of investment. So some boost to that research, development, technology is necessary. The fourth one is the food processing and preservation, whether it is fish, whether it is fruits, vegetable, what can be done further to attract investments. These are the things I would suggest.
Okay, agreed, sir. I would leave it at that, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for joining in and letting us know all those perspectives, sir. Thank you. બ્લુ સ્ટારના મેનેજમેન્ટ આપણી સાથે જોડાયા હતા. મેઇનલી જે વસ્તુ અહીં આગળથી ફોકસ એરિયામાં રાખવાની જરૂર છે, કન્ઝ્યુમર સ્પેન્ડિંગ કેવી રીતના ઇમ્પ્રુવ થઈ શકે છે, કેમ કે ડિસ્પોઝલ ઇન્કમ અહીં આગળથી જેટલા આપણે આટલા વર્ષોમાં જોઈ છે એની અંદર કેવી રીતના વધારો થઈ શકે એની ઉપર ખાસ ધ્યાન રાખવું જોઈએ. બીજું એક ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ વસ્તુ કીધી, ઇન્વર્ટર ડ્યુટી સ્ટ્રક્ચરનું રેકોગ્નિશન, કેમ કે અત્યાર સુધી એક એવો એરિયા રહ્યો છે જેની ઉપર આપણે એટલું ફોકસ નથી કરી રહ્યા. ઇનકેસ કમ્પોનન્ટ્સની વાત કરવા જઈએ છે તો જે રીતના ડ્યુટી લેવી ત્યાં થતી દેખાય છે એ ઇનપુટ કોસ્ટ વધારી દે છે, અને એની સામે જો પ્રાઇસિંગના એરિયો જોવા જોઈએ તો થોડું કેપ થતું દેખાય છે. તો એને સુધારવા માટે એમાંથી સરકાર તરફથી સ્ટેપ્સ એક્સપેક્ટેડ છે. અને એ સિવાય કોલ્ડ ચેન ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રી, જે આપણે વાત કરી કમર્શિયલ રેફ્રિજરેશન, એને અહીંયાથી જે રીતના બૂસ્ટઅપ મળતું દેખી શકે છે એ ફોકસમાં રહેશે. રિયલ એસ્ટેટની તો આપણે સવારથી ચર્ચા કરી રહ્યા છીએ. આટલા 2 કે 3 વીકમાં કન્ટિન્યુઅસલી 52 વીક હાઈસ ક્રોસ કરી રહ્યું છે. એના એન્ટિસિપેશનમાં કે બજેટમાં અહીંયાથી કંઈક જાહેર થતું દેખાઈ શકે છે. એ જ પેરામીટર્સ પર બ્લુ સ્ટારના મેનેજમેન્ટ તરફથી પણ આપણને એક્ઝિક્યુશનને લઈને કમેન્ટ્સ બનતી દેખાઈ હતી, તો એની ઉપર પણ આપણે ખાસ ધ્યાન રાખતા રહીશું. R&D પણ એક પેરામીટર